Senator Cosgrove.
And you're very welcome, Minister, and thank you for coming in. Overwhelmingly, like the Chair said in the introduction, we have been deliberating over this for 6 months. We've had different groups like all kinds of vulnerable road users, motorbike users, road haulage, bus drivers, cyclists, pedestrians, victims, families of victims of road collisions. And overwhelmingly, there has come that there's no confidence in the RSA. So I'm actually baffled that you're still saying that you're willing to say that you have confidence, despite the Endicott. I suppose the whole point of the Endicott report was looking at reform. And the results of that I suppose the recommendations from that have seen that and this is no offence at all, or no, I'm not being in any way kind of rude to the RSA as employee people working in the RSA, but I suppose as an organisation, it doesn't seem that it is functioning. And even when I'm reading here about, that from your own report, when you said that the strategy about safety cameras, the RSA are never mentioned in that, about camera deployment, that the transport, the TII and the NTA are mentioned in it. Even about the Camera Enforcement Oversight Group, the NTA are mentioned that again, that they're going to have responsibility. So I suppose, where is the role of the RSA? And just from, I don't see how the role is being fully, I don't think that they're managing their role, and I think the title is what it says. But would you think that maybe it's time to say, right, the RSA, first of all, I'd like to see how long you're going to give the reforms that you think are going to work from within. How long is that going to be? Have you given the time frame on that? But also, maybe when we have the recommendations from this report, which will hopefully will come up by September, overwhelmingly it's going to be that the witnesses coming in here have no confidence in the RSA. When would you decide, maybe, it's so serious at this stage, maybe it's time to bring a cross-departmental, maybe there needs to be a commissioner for road safety? And is that something you've considered as Minister?
Okay. First of all, I go back, and the very first thing I say, the Road Safety Authority are not the people who are responsible for putting up cameras on the roads. Their functions are basically, number one...
But why not, though? Why is it not?
Because it's a function of the Gardaí to enforce laws, and we have to let the Gardaí enforce the laws. I think people think that the Road Safety Authority, and maybe the authority is the wrong name.
And road safety, I suppose.
But the road safety, but they don't have the remit to do everything about road safety.
And I suppose that's why there needs to be reform.
What I would say is, if you want to say that the Road Safety Authority should be out on the roads stopping people for speeding, what are the guards doing? But
that's why maybe the Road Safety Authority should be gone. Maybe there needs to be a commissioner for road safety. Maybe there needs to be a full new structure looking at how all Department of Justice, Department of Education, Department of Health, that they're all in together, working together, and there needs to be a commissioner, an oversight that has full responsibility for road safety.
And if I say to you that that's what we have under different guise, we have a leadership group which the RSA are part of.
Which only meet once every quarterly?
No, I chair the quarterly meetings, but they meet more regular than that. And then out of that, there's breakout groups. For instance, for the strategy on cameras, there's a group doing that. And the reason why is because if you want to change the legislation to a way that you say, well, the Gardaí have a role, right, which is enforcement of the laws that we as legislators bring in. The RSA don't have control over that. But what the RSA do is they manage the testing of drivers. They manage the testing of vehicles to make sure they're roadworthy. They manage the tax and insurance and all that type of stuff. And then they also are involved in the area of education.
I know, but I suppose...
Sorry, I'm just very finished, because I want to answer this question. It's very, very important that you talk about putting in a road commissioner. To me, that's exactly the same thing as what the RSA are doing, because you cannot give the commissioner the power to enforce laws. It's left with Justice and the Gardaí.
But would you agree that the RSA isn't doing its job? It's not working. Whatever they're doing now, even regardless of the report that's coming out, it's not working because road fatalities and road deaths are going up.
Yeah, and I would say to you, and I would be very, very serious about this, Chair, that if we expect any one entity to bring down the road deaths on their own, we're actually at nothing. The road deaths And the collisions in this country are the responsibility of everyone who uses the roads. They're the responsibility of the guards to do the enforcement. They're the responsibilities of the NTA, TII and the local authorities to make sure the roads are safe.
I know, but where's the oversight then, I suppose? That's the whole... You'd imagine if you're hearing that an authority on road safety, that they'd have an oversight for bringing all those different parts. We say the guards, to bring in the TII, to bring in looking at cyclist groups, vulnerable. Like, where's the oversight? It seems to me, and this is from listening to all the witnesses coming in, that first of all, they think that the NTA or the RSA don't listen to them, that they're not, that they're giving feedback, and that in comparison to other European countries, that the RSA, as a road safety authority, they're not listening to the recommendations. Like, I'd love to know from your group that didn't you have the forum that you have?
Yeah.
And who's on that forum? I'm sure you're hearing this all the time, that there's no confidence in the RSA.
Well, what I would say to you is, you say, even after doing these reforms, there's been no confidence in it. And I would say, Senator, please, give us a chance to make sure, see the reforms first, see what's published, see how it's working.
Okay, and have you a timeline on that reform? Have you given us...
What I would say to you is that the timeline, all the different reforms, not just one reform, there's so many different things that have to be reformed, and there will be a timeline on each one by which the reform will happen, and also we will then be monitoring their performance. And
what if it doesn't? What if they don't change?
Look, what I would say to you, we don't preempt anything. I am very confident that when we put in these changes, led by Anne Graham as chair of the board and her board of directors, that you will see changes that will be effective and will help, let's say, will help with all the other organisations that are involved in reducing the number of collisions on the road, the number of fatalities and the number of people who have life-changing injuries. And I think that's the bottom line for everybody.
And I think that's where, the witnesses that have come in here have said that they don't believe that they've lost confidence in the RSA. And I suppose that's on your head, though, if as Minister.
And absolutely, and when you say they've lost confidence, that's why we're reforming it.
Thank you.